on a topic that you all know, but the urgency and the gravity of the injustice are so enormous that it must never be forgotten. I find this issue to be deeply important as they represent a profound violation of human rights in the truest sense of the word. As you know, many people have been attacked during the recent demonstrations. Thousands have been arrested, humiliated, beaten, and tortured. In many demonstrations, the regime used live ammunition. Shots were fired indiscriminately among the protesters, and people who merely wanted to express their dissent were severely injured. According to the reports from human rights activists and Amnesty International, many children and women also lost their lives in this process. At Pársi, we have been able to help just a few of these affected come to Europe, specifically to Germany, and find adequate protection and medical care there. Those affected were not only the protesters, but also those who wanted to provide medical assistance to them. One of our patients recounted how he and his family were shot at by officials from about just 8 meters away during a demonstration in Sanandaj. He had over 90 metal pellets embedded in his left leg, torso, arm, and left side of his face. His wife and his sister were also injured, only with the help of other protesters and a stranger who managed to hide him and his family in his home, were they able to escape the pursuit. When he later wanted to go to the hospital, police cars were stationed outside every hospital, arresting injured individuals. Finally, he was secretly treated at a smaller private clinic. At that time, doctors faced serious difficulties if they did not denounce the injured. The next day, he traveled to capital to present himself at a hospital there. Even there, his treatment was only carried out under false pretenses. The doctors and staff covered for him and registered him as a work accident. He lost his sight in his left eye and has since experienced severe chronic pain. And this is a lifelong torture. Another protester, I can mention his name here. I think he's sitting in the audience now, Mr. Kevan Samadi, living in Hamburg, was brutally tortured after his arrest. Due to effects of the torture and the poor hygiene conditions, he suffered from a painful urinary tract infection with bloody urine. He was denied a visit to the doctor and wasn't even allowed to receive pain medication. The interrogators demanded certain confessions from him beforehand. And another victim, just 19 years old at that time, went completely blind from the gunfire. He was arrested and tortured with electric shocks. After the interrogators had what they wanted, he was released with the words, it is better for him to remain blind for the rest of his life than to be killed. Almost all of individuals we deal with in our work, in our practice, suffer from post-traumatic stress disorders with corresponding anxieties, depression, somatization, skin and intestinal disease, etc., etc. All these are lifelong torture. The reports are unfortunately filled with similar cases where young women and men have lost their sight simply for wanting to express their opinions, a loss that can never be healed. As you know, the use of live ammunition is internationally condemned. In demonstrations, for example, here in the West, the police use pepper spray, tear gas, rubber bullets, and water cannons against protesters. Injuries can also occur here, but almost never with long-lasting damage. The metal pellets or consequences of torture lead to long-term damage and injuries that can only be removed through multiple lengthy operations. The pellets can become inflamed and need medical attention as soon as possible. Eyes in particular are very sensitive and often incur irreversible damage. Many injured individuals were too afraid to present themselves at a clinic for days or even months, fearing either arrest or trivial treatment resulting in permanent damage. Even today, many victims in Iran do not dare to share their experiences of detention. And all of this is unfortunately just a few examples of violence, fear, and terror in Iran. Violence, an instrument that the regime has used as a matter of course for over 40 years to silence those who think differently and protest. Thank you very much.